You know, that incredibly specific feeling when you first land in a place like Pattaya.
Oh, yeah, that immediate hit of coastal humidity when you step out of the car.
Exactly. You step out of that air-conditioned taxi, the heat just hits you, and you genuinely think like you're completely ready for the experience.
Right, because you've done all the research.
Yeah, I mean, you've scrolled through the forums, you've skimmed the articles in our source stack for today's deep dive, you've watched, countless vlogs.
You feel prepared?
Right, you're fully expecting this chaotic wall of neon lights, the booming bass spilling out of every open doorway, and just that relentless 24-hour energy of a city that famously never sleeps.
A very specific expectation, yeah.
You brace yourself for this wild, unrestrained explosion of random, spontaneous entertainment.
Well, the city actually works remarkably hard to project exactly that image to a new arrival.
Really? Like, it's intentional.
Oh, absolutely. The overarching goal is to make you feel like you've stepped into this environment of absolute glorious chaos where, literally anything can happen at any moment.
Right. But here is the massive hidden reality that our sources reveal once you look past all that flashing neon.
This is the fascinating part.
Yeah, the big aha moment for this deep dive is that Pattaya's nightlife is not just some random collection of opportunistic bars and clubs that just happen to be on the same street.
Not at all.
It is a highly structured, ruthlessly optimized economic ecosystem.
A literal machine.
Exactly, a machine engineered with one singular underlying purpose, and that is to extract your wealth, keep you inside its borders for as long as possible, and fundamentally rewire your perception of value so you just keep coming back.
It's brilliant in a terrifying way.
It really is. So, we are going to break down exactly how this machine operates. But before we map out the blueprint of this extraction system, I need to show this. This video is sponsored by My Solutions, a real estate investment and business consultancy based in Pattaya you can contact for free consultation. Contact details mentioned in description.
All right, so let's get into the mechanics of it.
Yeah, back to the machine. Our mission today is to trace the actual chronological path of a typical night out in this ecosystem.
From the very beginning.
Right. We're going to follow the timeline from the moment you arrive in the city straight into the aggressive high-velocity funnel of Soi 6 early in the evening.
Then down into the surge economics of walking street at peak hours.
Exactly. And finally into the strategic cool-down zone of Soi Buakhao.
Because we really need to decode the underlying psychology operating at each of these specific stages.
Yeah, what feels like spontaneous, unstructured fun to the visitor is actually a series of carefully calibrated economic zones.
Right. Each zone is designed to target a specific psychological state at a specific time of night.
Manipulating your financial boundaries before you even realize a transaction has taken place.
It's all about friction, or rather the lack of it.
Totally. So if we're going to unpack this machine, we really have to start at the physical entry point, right? Like the logistics of simply getting into the ecosystem.
Getting from A to B.
Yeah. Let's say you're coming down from Bangkok. Our sources lay out the entry methods pretty clearly. You have the taxi option, which is going to take about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
And that runs you somewhere between, 1,200 and 1,800 Thai baht?
Yep, exactly. Or if you're trying to guard your budget early, you have the bus option for just 150 to 200 baht.
There are private transfers too, of course.
Sure, but the point is, you arrive with a set amount of resources, your inventory, basically.
Right, and the logistics of arrival are your first subtle interaction with the baseline economy.
Mm-hmm.
But the real lesson begins the moment you actually reach the city limits. Because once you are in Pattaya, the entire geographical footprint of your experience shrinks dramatically.
Super concentrated.
Exactly. The vast majority of the economic activity orbits almost entirely around two main parallel arteries.
Beach Road and Second Row.
Precisely. That's the hub.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to navigate that central hub, you're primarily using the famous Baht Bus, right? The Song Tha.
Right.
Now, anyone who knows even a little bit about Pattaya knows the Baht Bus is cheap. It costs just 10 bahts to ride the loop.
But if you look closely at our sources, its real value to the city isn't just about providing cheap transport for tourists.
Right, it's doing something much bigger.
Yeah. The Baht Bus actually operates as the vital circulatory system of the entire economic machine.
Wow, okay, how so?
Well, at just 10 baht, it fundamentally removes the friction of travel. Think about the psychology here.
Okay, I'm with you.
If transport were expensive or complicated or required intense negotiation every time you wanted to move.
You'd probably just stay in your hotel.
Exactly. Or you might only drink at this single bar directly across the street.
Right, you wouldn't explore.
But by making movement essentially free and constant, the system ensures you are always in motion.
You're continually exposed to new venues, new neon signs, new opportunities to spend.
Exactly. You're never static.
Now, you also have motorbike taxis running between 40 and 100 baht if you need to cut across the grid quickly. But I definitely see your point.
Yeah, it's all about flow.
The continuous loop of the Baht bus keeps the blood flowing directly to the commercial organs of the city. It's like the lobby of a massive video game. You're getting your bearings, checking your inventory before entering the first level.
That's a great analogy. And walking is also key here. It scales the city and naturally transitions you into the different zones.
But I have to push back on this underlying premise right here at the start.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
You're calling it an engineered machine and a calibrated ecosystem, but isn't it just opportunistic chaos?
How do you mean?
Well, we are talking about hundreds, maybe thousands of independent bar owners, managers, and street vendors, right? All just aggressively trying to make a buck on the same grid. So is there really some grand coordinated design at play, or are we just projecting high-level order onto a messy party street?
That is a really critical distinction to make.
Yeah.
But you don't need a central architect or a master planner to create an optimized machine.
Okay, then what is it?
What you're looking at is the result of emergent order. Over decades, the independent actors in this ecosystem have ruthlessly competed against each other.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the tactics that didn't extract money efficiently, they died out.
Yeah.
The venues that didn't successfully manipulate foot traffic went bankrupt and were replaced.
So it's evolutionary.
Exactly. What survived, and what you see operating today, is an apex predator of an economy.
Wow.
The system is just a result of thousands of businesses converging on the absolute most mathematically efficient ways to separate a tourist from their cash through pure trial and error.
Okay, that actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Survival of the most profitable.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the first major zone of the night, what we can call the early evening funnel, level 1. Great. The clock hits 7 p.m., the sun is down, and you turn on to Soi 6. Let's visualize this space for a second.
It's intense.
Very. The sources describe an incredibly compressed, intense environment. It's a relatively short street, but every single bar is blasting its own music, creating this overlapping wall of sound,
And the staff are physically waving you in.
calling out to you, directing this immediate barrage of attention right at you.
Well, the spatial design of Soi 6 is highly intentional.
Because it's so narrow.
Yeah, the physical narrowness of the street forces proximity. You cannot casually stroll through at a distance without engaging.
You're in the thick of it.
And notice the transaction mechanics at play once they get your attention.
It's incredibly fast.
The entire street relies on what the sources call the direct approach. There is absolutely zero friction between walking, sitting, and spending.
Yeah, no time wasted at all.
The moment you cross the threshold, the machinery engages.
Yeah.
Within literal seconds, you're handed a menu, a drink arrives, the company sits down right next to you, and the invisible meter starts running.
Let's look at the actual data on that meter because I want to talk about the cost of that friction dropping to zero.
Let's run the numbers.
Our sources break it down. A lady drink, which is essentially buying a drink for the staff sitting with you, is going to cost between 150 and 250 baht.
Right.
Your own drink is somewhere between 80 and 150 baht.
And then there's the bar fine.
Yeah, if you decide to pay the bar fine, which is the fee to have your company leave the bar with you for the evening, that's going to run you around 800 to 1500 baht.
So it adds up quickly.
Very quickly. A light visit might cost 1,000 to 2,000 baht, but a full experience here can easily hit 3,000 to over 6,000 baht.
Let's analyze what those numbers actually represent, though.
Okay,
Because a 200 baht drink in this context isn't a beverage.
what is it?
It is a microtransaction designed to test your willingness to spend.
Oh, wow.
And the bar fine isn't just a fee, it's an economic buyout of a revenue-generating asset, the employee, for the evening.
That sounds so clinical.
It is. The venue calculates the lost revenue of that employee staying on site and charges you the premium. But what's fascinating here is that the absolute price isn't the primary mechanism of Soi 6.
It's the velocity.
Exactly. The velocity of the spend.
It's like an aggressive, real-world sales funnel.
So Soi 6 operates on a high turnover model. Because it is early in the evening, the goal is to test your financial boundaries immediately.
So what does this all mean for your wallet?
The greatest strategic danger of this specific zone isn't that you are being drastically overcharged.
Right.
It is early evening budget depletion.
It's like death by 1,000 tiny paper cuts to your wallet.
Precisely.
If you get caught up in the sensory overload and the rapid pace and you don't aggressively control your spending at like 7 o'clock, you could burn through 4,000 baht by 8:30 p.m.
And then your night is functionally over before it even begins.
Yeah, because you depleted your resources in the very first funnel.
Which is why awareness of the time and the zone is crucial. The ecosystem wants you to exhaust your budget early. But if you resist that high-velocity extraction, the demographic flow naturally shifts you toward the main stage around 10 p.m.
And that main stage is level 2, Walking Street.
The main event.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The sources emphasize the sheer scale of this transition. It's now 10 p.m., and vehicular traffic completely physically stops.
The street is entirely closed off.
Right, and thousands upon thousands of people flood into this pedestrian bottleneck. You transition away from those open-air, quick turnover bars and step into the realm of massive, multi-story nightclubs.
Sprawling go-go bars, lasers, street performers.
Heavy EDM shaking the pavement. It's massive.
This is the premium tier of the ecosystem. You are no longer in the early evening funnel.
No, you're in the deep end.
And this is exactly where we see surge economics take over the machine.
Oh, the price jump here is massive.
It's a completely different bracket.
The exact same local beer that was cheap earlier is now suddenly 120 to 200 baht.
Cocktails are hitting 200 to 400 baht.
Lady drinks jump to 200 or 300 baht. And those bar fines we mentioned, they double, hitting 100 to 2,000 baht easily. I just have to ask, like, how does the system convince people to willingly pay double for essentially the same core product they could get 2 streets over just an hour prior?
It's a great question.
Can't people just walk out? It feels like a theme park trap. Once you're inside the gates, you're a captive audience to premium pricing.
They could walk out, theoretically. But the system relies on cognitive load and environmental manipulation to ensure they don't.
Cognitive load.
Yeah. When you step into Walking Street, your brain is forced to process an overwhelming amount of data.
Right, the flashing strobe lights, the heavy bass.
Massive crowds, elevated social pressure, all of this intense sensory overload literally impairs your prefrontal cortex.
Wait, really? It physically affects your brain?
Yes, that's the part of your brain responsible for logical decision-making, impulse control, and financial restraint.
So the environment itself is acting as a literal anesthetic to your budget consciousness.
That is the exact mechanism.
That is wild.
By 10 p.m., the demographic has shifted to people who are ready to party. Their inhibitions are chemically lowering due to alcohol, and their willingness to spend on perceived premium experiences is peaking.
And the sources highlight a compounding effect built into the pricing models of these venues, right?
Yes, this is a crucial, hidden psychological detail.
Because it's not just that your restraint is lower.
No, many of these massive clubs strategically increase their prices as the night progresses.
Wow.
The later it gets and the more you drink, the less sensitive you become to cost.
So the ecosystem dynamically adjusts to extract higher premiums from that deeply impaired state.
Exactly. It's a brutal compounding effect.
Your capacity for financial restraint is going down at the exact same time the premium pricing structure is actively going up.
Right.
It creates a reality where a true party night in this specific zone will easily drain 5,000 to 10,000 baht, or significantly more if you aren't paying close attention.
Which is incredibly easy to do.
This is why the reality tip from our sources is so vital. You have to set a hard, inflexible budget before you step through the neon gates of Walking Street.
Absolutely. You have to know your limits before the system systematically tests and breaks them.
Yeah, if you wait until you are inside the premium tier to decide what you are willing to spend, the environment has already won the negotiation. Okay, so let's say you survive Walking Street.
You've navigated the premium tier,
Your wallet has taken a hit, and we move into level 3.
the long game.
The chronological shift brings us past midnight, maybe moving toward 1 or 2 a.m. The intense, overwhelming chaos of the main stage is starting to redline and fade.
People are getting tired.
Yeah, and if you follow the flow of expats and long-term visitors, they are retreating to a completely different environment entirely.
Soi Buakhao.
Exactly. And our sources note that the vibe here completely flips.
It's drastically different.
It goes from an overwhelming, high-pressure spectacle to relaxed, open-air sports bars, pool tables, local street food, and actual quiet conversations.
This is the ecosystem's deceleration zone.
The cool down zone.
Right. The aggressive, high-pressure extraction tactics that define Soi 6 and the sensory overload of Walking Street, they completely stop here.
And the prices plummet right back down to reality.
It's a huge shift.
The economic relief in this zone is massive. Beers drop all the way back down to 60 to 100 baht.
Lady drinks fall back to 100 to 150 baht.
And bar fines are back down to 600 to 1,000 baht.
So it's much more manageable.
Yeah, you can have a very long, comfortable night out here and max out around maybe 3,000 to 5,000 baht.
Exactly.
But this brings up a massive question for me regarding this whole ecosystem theory you mentioned earlier.
Okay, what is it?
If Walking Street is the premium tier where the system makes its really big money, why does the ecosystem even tolerate a cheap zone like Soi Buakhao? Wouldn't an optimized apex extraction machine want to force every single tourist into the premium tier all the time?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes perfect sense. If you force every single visitor into a 10,000 baht a night burn rate, you break the consumer.
Break them.
Yeah. A tourist who gets squeezed too hard and runs out of money on Tuesday is just going to sit in their hotel room until their flight home on Friday.
Oh, right. They're tapped out.
They become economically useless to the city. An optimized ecosystem has to understand the concept of sustainable yield.
So it acts as a pressure valve.
Exactly. A truly sustainable extraction system cannot run every participant at 100% intensity all the time.
That makes a lot of sense.
So Buakhao exists specifically to capture the budget-conscious traveler, the long-term expat, and the tourist who is simply burnt out from the sensory assault of the main stage.
It keeps them actively participating in the local economy, but at a slower, deeply sustainable rate.
Right. The machine calculates that it is far better to extract 3,000 baht a night from a visitor for 2 solid weeks than to extract 10,000 baht of it for 2 days and completely lose their participation.
It keeps the inventory, meaning the tourist and their wallet, circulating within the borders of the ecosystem rather than fleeing it.
Precisely.
So let's actually run the master ledger on this. When you add up the data from the sources, the true cost of a night out in Pattaya varies wildly based entirely on which zones you choose to engage with.
It's all about choices.
Yeah. If you are a budget traveler sticking strictly to the Baht Buses and anchoring your night in the deceleration zone of Soi Buakhao, you're spending somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 baht.
Which is highly manageable and designed for longevity.
Right. But an average tourist, someone who lets the current take them, who hits the high velocity of Soi 6, dips into the surge pricing of Walking Street, has a few premium drinks.
They are dropping 5,000 to 8,000 baht.
Easily. And the big spenders, the ones buying premium bottles in the mega clubs, paying multiple bar fines and completely ignoring the meter.
They're burning 10,000 to 20,000 baht or more.
Way more, yeah.
Which brings us to arguably the most dangerous psychological trap highlighted in all of our research.
The biggest mistake.
The pervasive myth that Pattaya is universally cheap.
Oh, right. People come in thinking their money will last forever.
It certainly can be inexpensive, but only if you are actively resisting the environmental friction designed to make you spend.
If you arrive with the baseline assumption that everything is cheap, your guard drops.
And the machine extracts maximum value.
So to help you actually manage your participation in this machine, let's run through the survival rules our sources lay out and look at exactly why they matter.
Let's do it.
Rule 1, always check prices first. Do not just sit down and tell them to bring you a beer.
Because failing to check prices is an explicit signal to the ecosystem.
A signal.
Yes, it communicates immediately that you are not price sensitive. This instantly changes how the venue staff will approach you for the rest of the night.
Wow.
You have essentially established yourself as high-value prey, and the velocity of their sales tactics will adjust accordingly.
That is terrifying but brilliant. Okay, rule 2. Never flash large amounts of cash. Again, it's all about signaling.
The moment a thick stack of 1,000 baht notes is visible, the atmospheric pressure around you will subtly but immediately escalate.
Blood in the water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The attention you receive will multiply, the drinks will be pushed faster, and the microtransactions will accelerate.
The ecosystem reacts to the visible presence of resources.
Always.
Rule 3. Stay aware of your surroundings. Enjoy the incredible spectacle. Enjoy the neon lights, but keep your situational awareness intact.
Do not let the sensory overload completely shut down your prefrontal cortex.
Right. And rule 4, avoid the trap of emotional spending.
This raises an important question about personal discipline.
Wow.
The entire infrastructure of this city's nightlife is purposefully built to manufacture emotional spikes.
Feelings of validation, excitement.
Status, attention. When you start spending money to chase or maintain those manufactured emotions, logic completely exits the equation.
And that is when the most severe and rapid wealth extraction occurs.
Exactly. The system is designed to catch you when your guard is down and the drinks are flowing.
So, to bring this all together for you and synthesize these sources, navigating Pattaya's nightlife is essentially navigating a highly engineered menu of choices.
It's all up to you.
If you understand the underlying mechanics, you can actively choose your experience. If you want high-speed interaction and directness, the early evening funnel of Soi 6 is built for that.
If you want massive, overwhelming energy and a premium sensory spectacle, the surge economics of Walking Street will provide it.
And if you want comfort, sustainability, and a place to actually hear yourself think, the deceleration zone of Soi Buakhao is waiting for you.
Each physical zone operates with entirely distinct rules, distinct pricing structures, and distinct psychological targets.
The difference between having an incredible, highly memorable trip and waking up the next morning with a mysteriously empty bank account and a massive headache comes down to one single factor: awareness.
Do you actually know which part of the economic machine you are currently standing in?
Exactly.
Which leaves us with a critical, lingering question to consider.
Lay it on us.
When you travel to a destination where the entirety of the infrastructure, from the 10 Baht transport networks to the multi-million-dollar mega clubs, is mathematically optimized to extract your resources through the brilliant illusion of spontaneous fun.
Yeah.
Are you the one consuming the nightlife, or is the nightlife actually consuming you?
Man, now that is something to seriously chew on the next time you step out into that neon-lit machinery. Keep your wits about you, watch the meter, and good luck out there in the maze.